Hello YouTube friends. Recently I posted a short video showcasing the beautiful bright yellow colors of some of my seahorses. And as a result, Graham reached out and he was telling me that when he acquired his seahorses, which are the same species as mine, Hippocampus erectus, they were brighter, and then over time they have become darker, sort of like a brownish or even close to a black color. And he has a reef tank set up, so there are corals in the tank with his seahorses, and he wondered if the macroalgae in my tank is what made the difference for seahorse coloration. Normally when someone asks me a question like this, I wonder about the water parameters. Graham says that his parameters are really good, so he doesn't think that that is what's impacting his seahorse coloration. So that leads me to some other thoughts. Well, it is really hard to pinpoint the exact reason why seahorses settle in on the color patterns that they prefer. But one thing that we have to keep in mind is that seahorse coloration is mostly genetic. So seahorses do have a base color, and then they can change colors within a certain range of that base. But we certainly can influence their tendencies to become more colorful or to display colors within that base due to environment. So a couple of thoughts that I had about that. In my tank, I don't have corals, I don't have a lot of live rock. I do have a lot of macroalgae. It is a 300-gallon aquarium, and one thing that goes through my mind is that having all that macroalgae in a large aquarium like that really does mimic the natural environment that seahorses are found in the ocean. So it does give the seahorses plenty of hiding space when they just don't want to be seen. Now, my seahorses are pretty active, although there are a couple that do hide a lot. They can at any point just go into some macroalgae and cover themselves up, and they are hard to find that way. I think it gives them a sense of security and a little bit of power to determine when they want to be visible and when they don't, which can impact their stress levels to a degree. Along with the ability to hide, the macroalgae does something else. It hosts a ton of living creatures that are natural foods that seahorses predate on. I know I have a lot of amphipods, a lot of copepods, and my guess is there are some isopods in all of that algae, including some microalgae that is currently growing in my aquarium. And the reason I think that is really important, in addition to having access to foods that support gut health and immune systems, those foods for seahorses have a nutritional profile that is aligned with what they would be eating in the wild. So these are saltwater creatures, and they have saltwater fatty acids that aren't offered by just the freshwater frozen mysis alone. So my seahorses, they graze pretty much all day long on these living creatures that inhabit the macroalgae and even the microalgae that's in the tank. And really, the frozen shrimp acts as just a supplement for the seahorses. It helps fill them up, it helps build up their protein levels, but again, the nutritional profile in the living creatures in the tank really create a very complete diet for the seahorses. And having that can influence their coloration. And then one final thought that I have about seahorse coloration is flow in a tank. People are starting to slowly realize that it's a myth to keep a low flow in a seahorse tank. Seahorses in the wild don't just reside in low flow areas. They are exposed to more intense currents. In my tank, I have what I call a moderate flow. So from the sump, the return pump, I'm going to guess, is about 600 gallons per hour. And remember, this is a 300-gallon tank I'm talking about. And then I have two power heads, one on each side of the tank. They run about 1,200 gallons per hour, but I don't run them both at the same time. I actually have a control device that alternates the power head flow. About every 30 minutes, it switches over to the opposite power head. And that kind of helps stir things up in the tank, keeps things from settling too much in one place. But it also gives the seahorses opportunities to pick a calmer side of the tank if they want. Or you can see them here, they're enjoying the current. People don't realize it's like exercise and fun for seahorses. And if you ever exercise or get a lot of activity, you'll notice a difference in your circulation and how you feel mentally and emotionally. I don't think it's that much different for seahorses. Maybe they don't have a thinking process like human beings, but I can't imagine that lots of activity isn't good for them. So I am assuming that circulation, just participating by enjoying the current, swimming around, dancing in it, increases their circulation and also stimulates their coloration. Well, anyway, those are my thoughts. Again, I don't have any scientific studies to refer to on this. I don't have any proof beyond anecdotal observations, but I thought I would share since Graham did reach out and ask. And any of you who have some thoughts, I would love to hear if you notice things that influence coloration beyond just setting up a different kind of background or different colors of macroalgae. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you next time.